reason why we came back to you is because your honesty and building that trust, right? It's not all about like, okay, I'm going to get them to sell or buy now, right? Because it's that long-term relationship that you want to build with these people, especially if you want to have longevity in this business, because you want those people to keep coming back to you. And when the time is right, they know they can trust you.
Welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast, where we are dedicated to unraveling the secrets to real estate success. I'm your host, Maud Léger, and each week we bring you insights from top realtors, entrepreneurs, and innovators, sharing their success stories, mindset, processes, motivations, and the key to their success. Join us every Monday for a new episode and discover how to crack the code to success and take your real estate business to the next level. Don't miss out on the opportunity to unlock your potential. This week, I'm speaking with Kyle van der Boom from Royal LePage, and today's chat is all about consistency. Kyle was able to navigate through the shiny object syndrome with unwavering consistency, boundless drive, and solid discipline to lift his business. Let's get to my chat with Kyle. This podcast is sponsored by Sold Right Away, the experts in real estate marketing. You work hard selling real estate, we work hard selling you. From listings to branding, Sold Right Away has you covered. For all your real estate marketing needs, visit soldrightaway.com. Hi Cal, thanks for joining us on the episode today. Tell us, what is the key to your success?
Yeah, thank you so much, Maud, for having me on. My key to success, I would say, is a lot to do with just consistency. So through the 7 years I've been in the business, especially at the beginning, it wasn't always the greatest to start off, and it was a little slower than what I wanted to. But that's often because of a lot of jumping around from different ideas to different ideas. And to be good at anything in this business and to have success, I find you have to have consistency in whatever prospecting form you decide to take. So whether that's some of the more old fashioned styles of door knocking or open houses, which still are very, very effective, or if you're looking on the social media sides or a combination of any of those, it's all about consistency, right? So not just doing it for a couple of weeks and then expecting results immediately. Sometimes that happens, but it doesn't always happen. So that's often what I found works well for me and in my success is making sure I'm staying consistent with the prospecting that I need to do.
Yeah, I love it. Consistency is definitely huge in this business and any business, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find
Sure.
I like what you're saying, because whatever way you generate your leads, it's just to keep one way and keep redoing it the same over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. And I find like it's good to have multiple like avenues that you're going to be focusing on. So you're not just having necessarily one, right? Because if open houses dry up for you and you don't have any you can do, you need more than one option available to you, right? So for myself, I've done a number of different things over the years, but focusing on door knocking has been a big one for, especially for my business partner, Case Feenstra, who kind of mentored me in the business and kind of taking that over from him. But then also going into some of the newer things like online leads and working on Instagram and TikTok just to try to promote and get online leads that way as well. And then through, of course, standard is your sphere of influence and referrals from clients, right? And keeping those up. So it's always good to have consistency, but making sure you have a couple streams that you can have it coming from.
Love it, love it. This is so huge. So helpful for agents.
Hmm.
When you think about it, because now we mentioned a bunch of things, what would be the one thing for you that you have implemented that brought you the most success?
Yeah, so for me in my business so far, I would say the greatest success has come from online leads. So this has been one specifically through my brokerage or at different ads I've run over time. So that's been a lot of where my business has come from. But I've also noticed different shifts in my business, right? And things that we're focusing on and making sure we're implementing. So for me, it's been a lot of consistency with follow up on with these online leads, because a lot of people will either they will never call them, or they won't stay consistent. Sometimes you need to follow up with people 12 times. Like there's a few deals I've closed this year already from online leads that I've been talking to from at least a year or more ago, right? So that might have come a year and a half ago, and we just sold their house and bought a new one in Ancaster, right? So it's one of those things that it's with even when you door knock, right? You got to be consistent with it. And once again, that's been where I've seen my biggest success, though, online leads and transferring that into all aspects of my business with the consistency piece.
Love it. And following up is
Mhm.
for sure. Do you have a process for your follow-up? Do you like
Yeah, so
follow up?
it depends on where it comes from. So you can get leads that come from every agent, probably at least within Ontario or Canada, gets the realtor.ca leads, and you'll have those come on your listings, right? When someone reaches out, wants some more information, or whether it's we have some through our brokerage at Royal LePage, where and most brokerages I think have some sort of program like this, where if an agent or a client, potential client, comes to their website and sees a listing that's maybe not even theirs, sending leads over to them and just building that connection, right? Because it's in the end, this business is still a face-to-face relational business, and people got to trust you, right? Rather than just having someone random calling that you just filled out a form for online, right? It's really trying to meet them in person and getting to know what they're looking for and to really show your skill as a realtor to be able to service them, right? And you're not just the next person trying to get a commission check, you're actually trying to give them good advice. For example, the people that I just helped buy currently, they bought a condo and it's conditional right now, but these are one of those online leads that I connected with about a year and a half ago and showed them a property, and I mentioned them and pointed out certain things that they had to be aware of. Furnace needed replacing in the near future. So that's something they got to be aware of and the costs that are going to be involved with that, right? So even meeting them and taking them through the property and they said to me, the reason why we came back to you is because your honesty and building that trust, right? It's not all about like, okay, I'm going to get them to sell or buy now, right?
Yeah.
Because it's that long-term relationship that you want to build with these people, especially if you want to have longevity in this business, because you want those people to keep coming back to you. And when the time is right, they know they can trust you.
Love it. Love it. Love it. That's
Mhm.
true. Like that's such a long process and it's not the quick
Yeah,
sell, it's the building the relationship.
definitely.
Yeah. What would be one challenge that you faced that taught you a valuable lesson?
I would say one challenge that I would have faced, especially when I got into the business, is just a lot of people, maybe if they haven't done this before, is confidence in knowing to be able to speak to different scenarios and different like something that you haven't seen before as a realtor, and that's why for me, working with my mentor Case Feenstra, is it's been very very helpful to be able to work alongside someone who's been in the industry, who can show you the ins and outs of when you have a scenario come up that you haven't dealt with before, that you can actually have someone who has that experience and who's gone through it, whether that's a mentor, whether that's a business partner, whether that's a good broker that you're working with. I think that's really key, especially those who are getting into the business. And for me, really learning to lean into that. So that's something kind of a lesson that I've learned is you got to really rely on those people, especially when you're starting off, because it's a big decision for any of your clients and one of the biggest decisions they'll make, financial decisions, at least in their lives, most people. So it's important to be able to have that support system around you so that if something is going maybe not the way you planned or expected, or something strange comes up in a home inspection that you're not familiar with, being able to have those people to rely on in order to make sure that your clients are making the best decisions and helping and guiding them through that.
Yeah, definitely. Having that support helps you with the confidence to
Yeah,
out there. Yeah, that's a good thing for new realtors starting up, I think.
definitely.
Have a mentor like you.
Yeah.
Cool. And how do you get more leads? What do you do in your business? We talked about dealing with online leads, but how do you get more for yourself?
Yeah, so there's a few ways. So obviously you can't control what you're getting from a brokerage. You can do as much as you can, but there's a number of different ways that I personally like to focus on, and there's a few that we kind of as a team, Case and I, and then we recently added another team member as well. And what we really try to focus on is a few different things. So Case has built his business for many, many years on door knocking in a specific area. So farming a specific area. We do flyers with sold right away, and which has been great. And being able to have that and basically going to the neighborhoods, having that. But also, once again, as I mentioned before, it's a face-to-face business. People got to trust people and being that resource for neighbors, right? So going in a specific neighborhood that we work regularly, knocking on doors, saying hello to the neighbors. We're not there to just be the biggest salespeople, right? We're there to help them and give them value. So whether that's what's my home worth, what would be your recommendation? We've helped many neighbors on recommendations for renovations, right? For future value, I don't plan on moving for another 10 years, but I want to know if I'm going to do some work, because we'd like to, what are some things that are the best to do for future returns, right? So things like that, and being able to help people during the process of door knocking and building those relationships. And we're door knocking the same areas like once or twice a year, right? So it's having that consistency and even doing events in the area. This coming weekend, we have two events coming up in some of our farm areas that we're sending out the flyers, we're door knocking, but we're also doing a pumpkin giveaway. So neighbors will come and they'll bring a bag of food for the local food bank, and then we'll give them a free pumpkin or two. And it's just a nice place for neighbors to hang out, for us to kind of build those relationships as well and invest into the community. So that would be one way. And then I guess the other way that I'm really been focusing on for the last year and a half, and when I said before, it comes down to consistency, is focusing on Instagram and TikTok. So we have a videographer who's on our team as well, and we basically do weekly video house tours, right? So we're getting anywhere from, on the low end, of 3,000 views on a video up to 500,000 views. So that's kind of the range we're seeing, and it depends. And you'll get a lot of people who aren't actually legitimate buyers who are seeing this, because people say, well, why TikTok? Why are you investing in that? But we're actually seeing that's one of the biggest platforms for growth. So people in the 30 to 40s are actually the biggest growing demographic on that platform right now, because all the young people have already gone there, right? So just like Facebook, we saw that, Instagram, we saw that, where all the young people go there first, and then the older people come along afterwards, right? The ones who can actually afford housing. So, and you can have much more organic reach there as well. So those are some of the things that we're doing, and obviously, like I said before, focusing on repeat business as well. So those are where my priorities are.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like you are very grounded in what to do. The consistency is there. It's actually smart to like offer education or tips to your farm area and then
Mm-hmm.
see how it goes. Like you're not focusing on sell, 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 buy, buy, buy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you adapt to new market conditions? It's been 7 years for you, and then for Case, it's been longer. What was the adaptation there?
Yeah, so for me, like when I got into the business, so I got in January 2017, and the market was hot, and then we had bidding wars, and I had a lot of agents tell me, don't get used to this. This is not how it normally is, right? And then we've seen ups and downs. We saw a couple of years of it being much slower, and then we saw that actually come back again a number of times during COVID, and then so it's gone up and down. And I think once again, it all comes down to consistency. There's always people looking to buy and sell, and people who are working during the hot markets, which is great. But if you get complacent and you just expect the business to come to you because there's so many buyers, there's so many sellers, that it just keep coming to you. Even during those times, you have to stay consistent with your prospecting. So not letting the ball drop on that, because if you just run around the whole time, service your clients, which is actually your number one priority, making sure you're doing a good job for your clients and making sure they're taken care of, but also making sure that you're setting aside that time that needs to be to actually invest in making sure you're filling that pipeline for the future. Because if you don't have that, then it's all going to dry up, and then you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs and saying, what am I going to do next, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. What is, I guess, a good question? What is a common theme that you've seen with successful agents, if you're looking at other agents?
Yeah, so I would say a common theme is a lot of drive, right? So they're driven and they're disciplined to do the things that maybe other people don't want to, right? Or the other people can't maintain.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're all like, even Case, right? Like he's very determined. I'm going to go get this. I don't have something. I'm going to go get it. Right. Like, and not just sitting there hoping things come to you. Right. And making sure that if you're going to do, whether it's door knocking, whether it's open houses, whether it's cold calling, whether it's online leads, whatever it is like, I'm not going to try this for a week or two and then I'm going to try something else, or change what I'm doing, or just hope that, oh, why hasn't anything come to me yet? Basically, for depending on the type of prospecting you do, in my opinion, and what I see and hear from a lot of other realtors as well, and what they're doing is they've been very consistent with their prospecting for not just a 3-month period. It's like 6 months to a year before you start seeing the fruits of that, right? And those people are, and sometimes you get them early, right? Like sometimes it comes nice and quick, and that's great, but not expecting that necessarily, because you have to work at it and you have to build it up over time, right? Even with the social media that I do on TikTok and Instagram, is that's only starting to pay off, because you have to build. We basically built the TikTok from 0 to now today, or the other day we just went over 8,000 followers. But the only reason we got there is because of consistency, right? And that's posting basically 2 to 3 times a week for a year and a half. And now we're starting to get clients from it now. But something like social media takes a longer time to get that going, whereas something like door knocking, you might get results a little bit quicker, and if you're disciplined with it. But that's just things that people have to, I've seen with a lot of other realtors, that they're just so consistent in keeping doing that stuff.
All right, I love it. What's the best advice you've ever received?
I think I sound like a broken record here, but it's prospecting and being disciplined with the activities that you need to do, right? Like, you can spend a lot of time going through your emails and looking at properties and looking at the market data. All important things to do, because those are things you have to address. But the most important thing is staying disciplined with your prospecting activities so that you can get that success.
Yeah, I love it. Discipline is huge, and that's so lacking with real estate agents most of the time.
Yes,
the shiny
exactly.
object, right? The shiny object. They want to do this, want to do that, but the focus, the focus.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Tell us, where do we find you? What's your Instagram and TikTok handle?
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok it's just Kyle Vanderboom, and our team page, we're not as active there, but Case and Kyle team on Instagram. And yeah, you'll be able to see if people have questions, they can reach out anytime to ask.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all those tips. I'm sure they will be very helpful for a lot of agents.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on, Mode.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to our podcast, Realtors Conspiracy, today. If you enjoyed this episode and want to uncover more real estate success, be sure to tune in to other episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from it, please share it with them and help spread the word. Together, let's unlock the potential to real estate success.